Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff. And this is a novel that has been adapted into the HBO series that got prematurely just canceled and said goodbye to after one season. But the basic idea of this book, broken into like 8 specific pieces, is taking Lovecraftian horror, other kinds of horror elements, injecting them into Jim Crow South, and finding that balance between having these allegories for like racism and different kinds of struggles of black people at the time into these science fiction stories, kind of reversing a lot of what actual Lovecraft did, who was not exactly the most understanding and caring person, nor was he the most not racist, to put it plainly. And there's a lot of racial undertones in many of his works, and this is kind of like that pushback to that and trying to flip it on its head, because that's one of the glories of science fiction and fantasy and horror, is being able to present a message wrapped in all these genre trappings, be able to teach a lesson while also scaring you, making you go on fantastic journeys and really think about things. And Lovecraft Country is able to do each of those things. It does feel very episodic. It's throwing different kinds of elements at you, whether it's them having to like go, our main characters, who the main crux of it is trying to find his father and uncle. We have Atticus at the center here, and him winding up having to go into the South and coming to blows with the Order of the Ancient Dawn, led by the Braithwhite family, and specifically Caleb Braithwhite, who winds up being like the main antagonist of this story, and dealing with the racism, the prejudice, all those different kinds of things, and also tackling each of these specific stories that have different things. Like at one point, one of the characters is turned to be white and is walking around like a white woman and having this strange new experience, and obviously a lot to be said about the differing treatment of white and black women. And you have each of those kinds of elements injected into each section of this story, and we're able to learn a lot. We're able to see different perspectives and ideas fleshed out in those fantastical stories, all leading up to an exciting and swirling representation of genre, wrapping all around these important themes and ideas that are focusing on overcoming racism and the horrors that were the Jim Crow South for many black people, and for all black people. And it's a kind of experience that's unique and interesting and engaging. It's crazy to see each of these stories coming to life, and some of them are more interesting than others. They all come together. It is one cohesive story with the same characters. It's just there's a bit of a looseness because it's having all these interwoven narrative beats that are each introducing their own kind of like horror trappings, fantasy trappings. And when it all comes together, I do think this is an impactful book with a lot of important messages, but also really works as a sci-fi horror fantasy epic that has a lot to say, balances it all, and leaves you at the end wanting more. Which, apparently there is more. I don't know if we'll get any more of the show, but in general, this was a very interesting and engaging read. But those are my thoughts on Lovecraft Country. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some books. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.